Hello, and welcome to the third episode of About Rotary. If you remember, Rotary is a worldwide service organization. And what that means is we are an organization that, as a hobby, as a passion, we help those in need. When I say worldwide, there are local clubs. Locally, there's Brewster, Pauling, Carmel, Mayapack, Patterson, etc. Each club may have as many as 10 or 50 different members, but there are over 30,000 local clubs worldwide, making a total population of about 1.2 million Rotarians. With an organization that big and a hobby passion of helping those in need, we can get a lot done. Today's show, as in the previous episodes, we're going to be in three parts. Our first part is Rotary Worldwide. What is Rotary doing on an international level? And then second, we're going to talk about local Rotary and what the local Rotary clubs have been doing. And then finally, we're going to talk about upcoming local Rotary events. We do have a guest here today, and she will be talking with us about ShelterBox, which is our international segment of the show. So our guest is Jenny Hinsman, my friend who is also the president of the Brewster Rotary Club, and she is the local ambassador for ShelterBox. Jenny, hello.
Hi.
Hi. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
So you are the ShelterBox Ambassador. ShelterBox is a really neat project, and well, you know what? I'm not going to steal your thunder. Tell our viewers, what is ShelterBox?
ShelterBox is an organization that pairs up with Rotary. We provide tents and materials in natural disasters and humanitarian crises. So basically, it's all the supplies that help people survive after a crisis if they lose their home. And it's not just for one family. We do it for multiple families whenever there's a natural disaster. It can be hundreds, it can be thousands, it can be tens of thousands.
I'm just so impressed with what ShelterBox is. You know, for our viewers, ShelterBox is literally a box about the size of a coffee table, a Tupperware bin, and it is filled with the necessities if you had to start your whole family from scratch.
Yes. So not only does it include a tent that can sleep up to 10 people and it can withhold 140 plus mile-an-hour winds, it also has blankets, it's got mosquito nets, it's got water filtration, water storage, it's got cooking supplies, you know, plates and cups, etc. There's also not just water filtration and water storage, but there's also materials such as tools in case they need to start rebuilding their house. And then on top of that, there are materials for children to occupy their time so that they have something to do.
So something that I know about ShelterBox is after a disaster, whether it's a natural disaster such as an earthquake or a typhoon, or whether it's a disaster such as conflict, war, etc., there's often opportunities for a family to stay together in a big community.
Yes.
But ShelterBox, I think, I've heard that it's wonderful that the family can stay together as a family instead of being part of a big auditorium or
That's
a big...
right.
Tell us more about the importance of that.
There are serious health risks by putting a large group of people together, especially to live in, say, a school that got shut down because the electricity's gone or there's, you know, because of the natural disaster. But to put hundreds of people in a place, it causes disease to spread. And the elderly are exposed, the young children are exposed, and they could die. By keeping the family separate, by giving them the ability to filter their water so that they don't get exposed to as many germs and fewer people, they can stay healthier, they can survive. So it's a better tool for survival.
And I'm sure after losing everything, it's great to not lose your family identity, your dignity,
That's
your
right.
privacy.
Privacy, and there's also sleep issues. When people are in a large facility and you hear lots of noise at night, some people have difficulty sleeping.
Sure.
So this allows them the ability to get their sleep so they can stay healthy.
Sure. Now, we're going to talk a lot more about ShelterBox, but right now there's a video that we have for our viewers to watch, and I know that it's going to really enlighten them.
Yes.
Can we go to the video?
Please.
Where you've lost everything, whether through earthquake or flood, tsunami or cyclone, volcano or conflict. What would you and your family need to survive? Imagine a situation where you've lost everything. Then a green box arrives, a shelter box.
It started out as a very simple concept. What would you need for your family if you lost everything in a disaster? A strong, tried and tested tent for shelter. Some thermal blankets, ground sheets, hats and gloves for warmth. Mosquito nets and a water filter to protect your family from disease. Pots and pans to cook with, a toolkit to repair your home to earn your living. Basically life-saving, life-changing, very essential equipment.
When a devastating earthquake hit Haiti in January 2010, ShelterBox mobilised and was sending boxes within hours.
It really is unimaginable at this point, the totality of destruction throughout the city. Every open area is filled with people sleeping in the streets. Everyone's functioning without electricity, without water, makeshift shelters everywhere. It's unimaginable. Just the loss of life alone is massive. The coordination effort here is huge. It's not just we have shelter, it's where can we put that? Do we have enough for that entire camp? Can we provide security? Can others provide food, water, sanitation for those areas? So it's just a massive coordination effort, the number of different agencies that are here on the ground.
I told these people how to put up tents, and now we're putting up a tent one after another. Behind us, you can see the tents they used to live in. So this is the example of people working with us and camp building up.
ShelterBox sent nearly 30,000 boxes in total, helping almost 1/3 people.
There will always be families in need. Fortunately, there will also be those who want to help. Whatever your contribution, you can make a difference to families made homeless by disaster.
ShelterBox relies on volunteers and donations to make its work possible. Your gift of time or money can help save lives and give new hope to families who have lost everything. Bringing shelter, warmth and dignity in the shape of a green box.
So this is truly, truly impressive that there's an organization like this and that it has been deployed so many times around the world. Tell me, what year did ShelterBox begin?
ShelterBox began as a UK organization back in the year 2000. Their first deployment was in India in 2001. They have paired up with Rotary International in 20 different countries. Rotary is involved on a global basis with ShelterBox, but these 20 countries are providing donations and volunteer work. And the U.S. is one of the largest countries providing that service to ShelterBox. So since 2000, since they were formed, they have helped over 100,000 families.
Wow.
With the disaster and humanitarian crises help.
So you say that ShelterBox organizations exist in 20 different countries,
Yes.
but they have helped people in many more countries than that.
Yes, in a bit we will show some slides which have a map, and the green countries are the countries, it's almost all over the world. There are very few countries that haven't been serviced.
Now, I understand that each year ShelterBox programs get a little bigger, and in 2015, how many families were helped?
Over 19,000 in 2015.
19,000 families.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, there's been obviously the Syrian crisis this year, which has been a huge issue globally, and everybody's trying to help with that, including Rotary. So.
Right. And I know that shelter boxes have been deployed not just in foreign countries, but as well in the United States after some of the natural disasters that we've had in recent years.
Yes, absolutely. The U.S. is one of the countries that has received shelter boxes, absolutely.
Yeah. So now tell me, why should people donate to ShelterBox?
Well, first of all, it's a nonprofit organization, so it's a tax-deductible donation. It's important for people to understand that if you were in the situation where you lost your home and your family was in need, the ability to at least stay together as a family is critically important, not only for your health, but for your privacy, et cetera, as we talked about earlier.
And dignity.
It's your dignity, yes. It's the ability to stay together as a family.
Right.
And survive.
Right. So now, how much does one of these boxes cost?
The entire cost is $1,000. A donation can be as small as $30. There's not a limit on the donations, but you know the recommended smallest donation is $30. So. Right. Many people donate to ShelterBox.
Now, you know, $1,000, just to put it in perspective, $1,000 sounds like a lot for a tent in a box.
That's
but
right.
When you realize the amount of work that has gone into putting not just the tent, but all of the supplies, and having it on site, how quickly after a disaster?
Usually the next day. Now, because of the Rotary's connections, we typically get disaster relief within a day. What happens is the donations go in, ShelterBox stores them in various locations, and when a disaster occurs, they fly them out and get them there the next day. And we can usually bypass customs, occasionally not, but for most situations we bypass customs. We are typically the first organization to provide disaster relief in any natural disaster.
And it's such important relief that that we're providing. I know that we have some slides that we can show,
yes.
And Jenny, maybe when you see the slides on the screen, you can help our viewers know a little bit about what they're looking at.
Sure. That's the box.
Okay.
That's the shelter box. This is a list of all of the items and a photo of the items that are inside the shelter box. So this one is the storage facility where volunteers work. This is the map that I mentioned earlier, the countries around the world who have received donations from ShelterBox.
Those are all the ones in green.
The one in green, yes.
Yep.
This is an example of what ShelterBox looks like prior to departure. This is another example. So this one is U.S. service members. This one is ShelterBox offloading from a plane. This one is a Philippines donation. Second, that's also the Philippines donation, but that's the tent.
Looks like they kind of customized
That's an
it.
older tent, yeah.
Yep.
This is ShelterBox. This is what looks like once they're deployed.
A whole village.
A village.
Wow. And each family has their own.
Each family has their own.
That's great. That's great. So now, Jenny, you are the ShelterBox Ambassador.
Yes.
Tell me, what exactly is that?
An ambassador is somebody who volunteers in their community and educates the community about what ShelterBox is. So what I do is I help set up tents at local events and help communicate to the community what ShelterBox is, what we do, what we do, and in terms of humanitarian and disaster relief.
Well, Well, that's great. Now, I know that we'll be talking with you again a little bit later, wearing your other hat as president of the Brewster Rotary. I'm very, very proud to be involved with Rotary and ShelterBox and what we've been able to do around the world. And I know that people will see how to donate to ShelterBox, and if they don't want to donate directly, they can go to their local Rotary Club and donate there. Now, speaking of local Rotary clubs, now we're going to talk a little bit about what your local Rotary clubs have been up to. So I know that we have a photo, and Jenny, you can talk a little bit about your Brewster Club just recently had a coat drive?
Yes, we did. We had a coat drive back in early December, and we donated 90 coats, of which, let's see, 30, I think 30 were brand new coats, and those went to the Putnam Cap, and then the rest were used, but in very good condition. And then we decided to donate some new coats as well. This is called Project Warm, and it's a pairing up with LL Bean, and they give us basically at wholesale prices coats to give, brand new coats.
That's great.
So
that's great. And Brewster Club also had an Applebee's breakfast. Can you tell us a little bit about what that is?
Yes, every year the Saturday before Christmas we have a free breakfast for people who can't afford to go to breakfast, or some people who have disabilities, and we invite many, many people, including senior citizens, to go to this free breakfast. And we serve them breakfast, we sing holiday songs, and just have a great fun time, and it's just a wonderful event. We love it.
Great. I know your club is an active club and does great things. Another local Rotary Club that I'd like to talk about is the Pauling Rotary Club, and I know that we have some slides here that we can show. On Tuesday, December 15th, the Pauling Rotary Club held its annual holiday celebration at the Christ Church on Quaker Hill with a luncheon catered by Vinnie's Deli and attended by Rotary members and invited guests. The Christ Church Choir entertained with holiday music. The Pauling Rotary Club makes donations to organizations in Pauling that support area youth. This year's grant recipients included the Pauling Resource Center, the Pauling Free Library, the Interact Club, Pauling Youth Development, Camp Sundown, the Smith Johnson Scout Cabin, and additionally the Pauling Fire Department received a gift of thanks, and the Rotary Foundation received a donation to assist international programs supporting children's health initiatives. This holiday season, Pauling Rotarians adopted 2 local families in need who registered with the Pauling Resource Center. Rotary's families had a combined total of 10 children, ranging in age from 2 to 15. Spearheaded by Rotarian Lori Johnson, who acted as the Rotary's Secret Santa, gifts ranged from coats, boots, hats, and scarves to toys and games and grocery store gift cards. Gifts were wrapped by Rotary members and delivered to the Pauling Resource Center for redistribution. In addition, the Pauling Rotary donated 2 shelter boxes this year. The second one went to victims of Nepal's deadly earthquake this year. And finally, Pauling Rotary added to its ranks with the induction of a new member, Matthew Daniels, at Tuesday's holiday luncheon. He was warmly welcomed by all in attendance. So now it's nice to see that Pauling's been busy. I'll also say that there are upcoming Rotary events, and Jenny, I'll put you on the spot again. Maybe you can talk a little bit about the Brewster Rotary Super Bowl party.
Yes. We're really looking forward to the Super Bowl on February 7th because we will be hosting an event at the Marin Hotel, which is in Danbury, Connecticut. And it starts at 5:30, it's over at 11, and we are going to be having our Super Bowl party, where we are not only going to be having the Super Bowl party, but we are also going to be having some raffle prizes as well as a 50-50 Sky's the Limit raffle. So the cost to attend the event is $45, and that includes dinner and hors d'oeuvres.
Great.
So.
Yep, big screen. A lot of people to...
Multiple screens, and there's also a billiards room, and there's also lots of other things to do if you're not into watching football the whole time. We may have a second room with movies going on should we need that.
So bring your family and friends. You'll have plenty of people
Family and
to
friends.
scream at the television.
Yes,
with.
and just so you know, we've checked out the Marin Hotel. It's at the Viva restaurant there, and the food there is excellent. We have gone there multiple times to make sure that it meets our requirements, and it does.
Now, is there also going to be a 50-50 raffle?
Yes.
Okay, and that's called the
Sky's the Limit.
Okay, and where and how can people buy tickets in advance for that?
They can buy them in advance through any member of the Brewster Rotary Club, and you can get in touch with me at jenny.hinsman@gmail.com or go to our Rotary website and you can look up information on it.
Great. Or they could even stop by one of your meetings.
You can stop by one of our meetings.
Which are when and where?
Aversano's every Tuesday at 12:15.
Great. Excellent. And my club, the Patterson Rotary Club, has our upcoming Valentine's Day giveaway. So throughout the year we raise money at different fundraising events, and there are 2 giveaways per year where we get to distribute checks and visit with the organizations that we're supporting, and it's always great to see how much good is being done in our community by all these different organizations, and get a chance to support them. So next month we'll see some video of that, I think. So as a reminder, before we leave, please come to a Rotary meeting if you're curious, if you'd like to learn more about local Rotary. Maybe it might be a good fit for you, or maybe you just might want to support. I know that we'll have some images up on the screen, but if you're in Pauling, Patterson, Carmel, Mahopac, Brewster, come to a local meeting and support us while we support others. So for now, I'm going to thank you all for watching, and hope you enjoyed the show. We'll see you again.